Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Ottumwa City Council meeting. If everybody would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item on our agenda tonight, before we do the roll call, is Judge Daly is here to do the induction of our new city council member, Bill Hoffman Jr. So I'm going to turn it over to Judge Daly.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Hoffman, Councilman, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Bill Hoffman Jr.
I, Bill Hoffman Jr.
swear that I will support the Constitution
swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa.
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa.
And I will faithfully and impartially,
And I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties
discharge all the duties
of the office of Ottumwa Council Member
of the office of Ottumwa Council Member
of Wapello County
of Wapello County,
as now or hereinafter required by law.
as now and hereinafter required by law.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And in case anybody's wondering why we're only doing one council member tonight, Bill Hoffman is actually going to finish out the term that Russ Hall had for Bob Myers. And Keith Cavanis will be sworn in January when Mark Rowe's term is done the end of December. So that's why we're only doing one person tonight.
Now you can get a real name back.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. All right.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
good evening.
Thanks. Chris will go ahead and take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Here.
Councilmember Pope?
Here.
Councilmember Rowe?
Here.
Councilmember Galloway? Here. Councilmember Hoffman?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here. The next item is our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Second.
Any further discussion? Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway? Yes. Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
The next item is approval of tonight's city council agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway? Yes. Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
The next agenda item is our city administrator's report, and Phil Rath is going to be here, but he's just going to be a little bit late getting here, so he said to go ahead and start with his report, and he'll join us here in a little while. So I think we'll skip down to number 2, and we'll go ahead and have Mark Rowe, the Director of Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress, give an update report.
And I'm going to come on this side tonight because I can't see the screen. I can't see the screen now either.
Turn the light on.
Turn the lights down.
You want to sing that a little louder?
No.
Okay.
Are we going to be in the way?
Yeah, you can turn around. Okay, so I want to do this just a little bit differently tonight than what we have done in the past. Usually we just start out right with an update from what we've been doing with GoPit, but we are coming to the end of the year, and I wanted to change things up in the fact that I wanted to give a little bit of an update on the city of Ottumwa before we started talking about GoPip specifically. So I want to hit the next slide. But first, I do want to say that we do have a new staff announcement, which is a little bit dated at this point because the last presentation that I gave to the Ottumwa City Council was back in July. We brought on Diana Dominguez as our office associate. We're really happy to have her. She's a student currently at Indian Hills Community College in Business Office Management. She is a IJAG partner. She grew up through the IJAG program with the Ottumwa Community School District. She works with the South Central Iowa Local Workforce Development Board. She has received her biliteracy seal recognition in Spanish language and English language through the Ottumwa Community School District. And she represents GOPIP with the League of United Latin American Citizens. So with her, we're able to, which we have started to do already, full dual language for all of the communications that we have going out to the public. So we're really happy to have her on board. So to look at what we have in the community right now, I think that everybody in the community really should be proud of what is happening in Ottumwa. We have a lot of people doing a lot of great things. And you know, you're going to hear from Fred Zeziger tonight on great things that he's doing with Main Street Ottumwa. There was a press release earlier this week or late last week from Laura Carroll and the great work that Meet Ottumwa is doing. But you know, set those aside for a second. We also have great work that's going on with the Ottumwa School District. We also have great work that's going on with Indian Hills Community College. We have great work that's going on with the city of Ottumwa and Wapello County. And we have a lot of private investors that are really taking ownership of their place in the city of Ottumwa. So we're really proud. Some of this information has been widely available to the city of Ottumwa over the years, but it's never really been put into one nice package for everybody to really see what truly is happening inside the walls of this community. So we're going to talk about commercial investment in the city of Ottumwa. We're going to talk about the housing investment. We're going to talk about the business expansion that we have here. And then I just want to highlight the message that Laura brought last week with Meet Ottumwa. I'm sure everybody saw the press release that was put out yesterday in regards to the commercial investment in Ottumwa. This is a snapshot of the city of Ottumwa for commercial investment over the course of 2023 and into 2024. And you know, you can look at this and say, oh, that's fantastic. What's that actually mean? Well, this is significant, because if you look back at Ottumwa's commercial growth at any one point since 1989, this is completely dwarfing any of those numbers. The highest number that we have seen since 1989 was back in 2003 to the tune of roughly $27 million. So looking at this to say that we have $134 million worth of growth, first of all, I've said this many times in my career on city council. I will say this again now, so feel free to put me on record. And I will say this again into the future. To anybody that says that this community is dying, look at those numbers. People don't put $134 million into a dying community. And you can say what you want about public investment. People don't put $31 million of their own money into a dying city. And this is only one part of the picture. So we have a lot of great projects that are coming up in the city of Ottumwa. And a bulk of the public money is dedicated to education. And as we all know, one of the key things when we're looking for economic development in any community, they must have a quality education system. And I really tip my hat to the Ottumwa Community School District and Indian Hills Community College for, number one, recognizing their importance in the community, and number two, making this kind of significant investment into the community. Some of the other things that, looking into the next year, that are important in the city of Ottumwa, obviously streets and sewer repair is important to the city of Ottumwa. This year and next year, we're looking at least $17 million into streets and sewer repair in the city of Ottumwa. So don't believe the hype that we're not fixing the streets in the city of Ottumwa. I can't say that enough times. It's not true. We have a lot of private investment in the community. You know, walking outside the doors here, we see $10 million worth of private investment that is going to help the economy. It's going to help tourism. We have housing projects that are going on that we'll talk about here in the near future. We have a lot of businesses expanding their doors. We have a lot of businesses opening their doors. We have one for setting ourselves up for the 21st century market. We have a three-phase approach from Mahaska Group Communications. It's going to be dumping roughly $5 million a year worth of infrastructure into the city of Ottumwa. So we should be really proud of that. And obviously, this number is going to grow. There are projects that are on the horizon that we just can't quite talk about yet, but this number will grow. 2024 will be a bigger year than what this $134 million represents. So one last time, I will say, anybody who says that the city of Ottumwa is dying or is on its last breath is absolutely wrong. Next slide. To that point, housing investment, same time period. We're looking at a minimum of $19.5 million worth of growth in Ottumwa over this 2-year period. So we have a long way to go. The housing study that was performed here said that we needed 500 housing units by 2030. We're slowly chipping away at that. We need that across all price points. We need that in low to moderate housing. We need that in market rate housing. We need that in single family homes. We need that in apartments and condominiums. So we're going to see growth in all of those areas. Some of those are on a precipice of being finished, such as the Asbury and sorry, what's the other? Sherwood properties. And then we'll talk about a market rate project here in just a little bit. We have done a terrible job as a city in the past of actually tracking data for business expansion or retraction. And one of the projects that GoPIP has been responsible for this upcoming year with the city of Ottumwa is to create a comprehensive database for businesses in Ottumwa. And one of the things that allows us to do is really extract the data of what that business expansion or retraction looked like. And to date, we have seen 1% business growth in the city of Ottumwa. 1% doesn't seem like a lot, but 1% is 1%. And again, anybody who says that, we have businesses leaving, we do have businesses leaving. That's the natural course of life in the business community. But we have some notable openings, again, to point to the Cobblestone Hotel and Soda Chop House. Mahaska Group Communications not only is undertaking a infrastructural project in Ottumwa, they also opened an office here in town. Heron Cross downtown, TJ Maxx, Five Below, 2320 Fitness, Champion Express Car Wash. There are several others that I didn't put on this list. So we have a lot of good things as far as business and people willing to take the risk to become private investors into this community. So we're really happy about that, and I anticipate we'll see a higher number than this next year. And then again, I don't want to steal any thunder away from Miss Laura Carroll, but I just wanted to, these are data points that she released last week. In 2022, there was $56 million worth of tourism in Wapello County. And again, I'm going to pick here for just a second. People from outside Ottumwa want to come to Ottumwa. They want to see what Wapello County and Ottumwa have to offer. This town is not what the people inside the city necessarily think it is. People want to be here, and these numbers very much show that. It's up from $52 million in 2021. Total economic impact, $85 million to the Wapello County economy, $617 tourism related jobs that were sustained in the last year, and $9 million plus in state and local government tax revenues as a result of that tourism. Okay, so now let's talk about the GoPIP report to the council. In the area of retail development, we've been working with retail strategies, myself and Zach Simonson, over the last 3 months for specifically recruitment to the Ottumwa market. And the focus has shifted just a little bit, and I'll explain why here in just a minute. But the original focus of retail strategies was really to go after Quincy Place Mall and figure out ways that we could fill that. That thought process has shifted just a little bit. And we're looking to fill the 55,000 square foot that was in the legacy Target building. They are working on filling Wildwood Plaza, the two end cap locations of Wildwood Plaza. And for those that don't know, that's this little strip center that's right next door to Kohl's. So Quincy Place Mall is the last piece that we'll talk about. When we signed the contract with Retail Strategies, the original conversation revolved around not only filling some of these other places in Ottumwa, but really targeting hard on Quincy Place Mall. And since that point, we've kind of shifted a little bit because we quite honestly had a little bit of difficulty dealing with the ownership at Quincy Place Mall. There are certain demands that are being laid by the owners of the mall, and we're not willing to deal with those from city level. So the next area that we can diligently attract business is the Target building. They're 55,000 square foot there that can be subdivided to make a couple of very large retailers. So the owner of that property is very active and wants to fill that property. So this is a natural way for us to go to make sure that we can bring retail to Ottumwa in that district. Church Street District, this is an area that we've talked about at the last few council meetings. We held our third meeting with the Church Street District on November 8th, and that was held, I believe, in this very room. I could be wrong on that. But the conversation really shifted from the small things that the city and GoPip could be doing for the Church Street District business and property owners to what are some of those more grand things that we could really be taking care of. I don't want to regurgitate what we had done in the past, but the thing that we're working on currently, which is the last major project to fill out that last phase, really is the security in the parking lot behind Bridgeview Center, behind the Church Street District. We have had Alliant Energy go out and take markings of the pole. And as soon as we can get a line out there to put the pole up, we can get the security cameras up, and that will be under eyes from that point forward. The big topic of conversation, two big topics of conversation that we had at the last meeting was really talking about what is the future identity of the Church Street District going to look like. And for that, I brought in Holly Berg, who works with the Ottumwa Area Arts Council, to start talking about those art pieces that might fit the unique identity of the district and really move the concept of what has worked so well on the Main Street District and start to move that across the bridge to the Church Street District as well. And then the last thing that was a topic of conversation that I'm sure that's going to come up at some point in the near future is traffic on Church Street. Looking at one of the major deterrents for continued business and increased business on the Church Street District is really the walkability. The Main Street District has excellent walkability. The Church Street District has terrible walkability. We're actually asking people to break the law of Ottumwa by jaywalking across the street, and we've got to figure out a solution for that moving forward. This is something that I am really excited about that we've been able to see past the finish line. Wayfinding is a conversation that has been happening since at least 2011 in Ottumwa. I know when I ran for city council the first time in 2015, as former council person by the name of J.R. Richards at that point said he gave up on this, and it was something that he ran on in 2011. So this has been a topic of conversation. It had went through many iterations over the years, and it came to a point, mostly because of COVID, that it just kind of dropped. And several members of the Wayfinding Committee got back together. GoPip funded the purchase of all these signs, and I do want to give a very public thank you and kudos to the City Streets Department for making this happen. They promised us 4 signs before snow flew, And the next thing we knew, they had 14 signs placed, and they were trying to figure out a way to get more done, but they just ran out of time. So we have 27 signs that are looking for placement in the city, and the last 13 will be placed next spring. This is really important because this is a way for the people that are visiting Ottumwa to know how to get around to the various districts of the community. So this is a very welcome thing for the city, and I'm so happy to see it. And again, there's a lot of people that were involved in this, and I couldn't be more appreciative to everybody that laid a hand on this project. Helgerson Flats is the next big piece of property that we have been talking with several entities about lately. For anybody that doesn't know, Helgerson Flats is a property that's a joint ownership between the Helgerson Family Trust, Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress, and Alliant Energy. It's about 77.8 acres, and it's right on the edge of the Ottumwa Industrial Park. It's site certified. It's one of 23 sites in the state of Iowa that's site certified, meaning you can start putting concrete on there tomorrow morning if you wanted to. The problem with that property is now, and always has been, access for 53-foot trucks. So we have finally been able to break that wall of communication with the Iowa Department of Transportation, and with a partnership with the City of Ottumwa, Wapello County, the DOT, and Iowa Economic Development Authority. We have a couple of options on the table for both short-term solution and long-term solution to create access out there. The reason that access is so important and that property is so important because the City of Ottumwa has no property for infill development that could hold a footprint of a major manufacturer or major commercial warehousing type business. This is the spot in Ottumwa, so it's very important that we work to develop this over the coming years. This is going to be critical to job creation in the City of Ottumwa. And then daycare is another project that we've been working very hard on, as everybody knows. Indian Hills a while back announced that they were going to be closing their operation, and through that process we worked with CETA in Indian Hills to reopen that as CETA, and that will reactivate 30 to 40 daycare slots in Ottumwa, which will kind of bring us back to net neutral. We do have a partnership with a licensed provider in the City of Ottumwa. Ottumwa Regional Health Center has a daycare center that they just kind of walked away from, but they've maintained the building, and all of the critical components for a daycare center is still in that building. We've been working with a licensed provider in Ottumwa Regional Health Center over the past couple of months, and we are on the precipice of making a solid connection there. And with that, that will increase the daycare slots in the City of Ottumwa by 70 to 80 slots. And then lastly, we've been meeting with potential investors for a capital campaign for a daycare center in downtown Ottumwa. So just to round this out a little bit, the current initiatives that GoPIP has going on is the business database that I mentioned a little bit ago, and then the housing development in conjunction with Legacy Foundation, the City of Ottumwa and Wapello County. For anybody who might be interested, drive by there tomorrow, please. We did launch an Economic Development Foundation, a 501c3 foundation, and the next two initiatives that will be working with that is a small business revolving loan program and a scholarship program for workforce development. We'll be launching industrial roundtables beginning early 2024, and we're working on a joint GoPIP Ottumwa League of Women Voters Legislative Forum. Any questions?
Good report. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Fred's next.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Let's see, next up we have Fred Zessinger, maybe others from Main Street Ottumwa, provide quarterly update report. And I believe Smith, your self-contained municipal improvement district as well.
Just a little update on that as well. Just me giving the report tonight. Haven't been here in a little bit, but wanted to give a little update, and we'll probably be back here in the next few months to talk more about school as well. So, again, I'm Fred Zizziger, Main Street Ottumwa Executive Director. This is Main Street Ottumwa's mission. The Main Street Ottumwa program fosters a vibrant, dynamic, and healthy downtown through community engagement and collaborative partnerships. And I can't stress that enough that we get a lot of things done a lot quicker when we all work together and work with other organizations and all be part of the same thing. I have to say kudos to Mark. I thought that was an excellent report. While Mark's working with the whole city, I do work with pretty much 16 blocks of downtown on the north side of the river. To someday expand to include Church Street, but right now we're on the north side of the river in the historic kind of business district. Okay. We do have a couple new board members this year. James Baines, who's actually here, and Brad McCloskey with the Ottumwa school system. So super to have both of them on board, and look forward to working with them more. They're great partners, and I'm excited to have them on board. Here in the fall of 2022, we did some strategic priorities. We're still working on those. The first strategy is creating a culture of living in downtown Ottumwa. One of our main focuses is getting those upper story units occupied downtown. We have several vacant properties downtown, but we have filled a lot of those with apartments. I think we have 117 apartments now downtown. When Main Street started, there were about 45. So we've seen that grow quite a bit and hope to continue to do that. But the other part of that is really starting to focus on taking downtown and making it back into a neighborhood again. So we're really looking at doing some vibrancy projects, and I'll talk a little bit more about those here in a few minutes too. Next slide. Strategy 2 is build trust and awareness of Main Street Ottumwa through enhanced marketing efforts and storytelling. We've really upped our game on our Facebook page, on our website as well, really tying those two together to get interaction with Facebook, but drawing them into our website as well. Most of our sales are now driven through our website, and the committees that have been working on that have done a really, really fantastic job. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Strategy 3 is supporting businesses by fostering development, growth, and success in downtown Ottumwa. We're always striving to keep the businesses that we have downtown and making them better. Unfortunately, we do lose some of those, and we've come up with some strategies to try to make opening a business not necessarily easier, but getting the tools to make those businesses more successful. I would say over the last few years, we have seen, if we lose a business, we get a new business in, and I feel like we're upping our game each time we have a new business open. So we continue to work on that. Okay. So Mark, I mentioned some recent businesses that have opened across the community, but right in downtown, we have had several in the last, I would say this is probably the last 14 months. The Antler Guy on 2nd Street, if you haven't visited that shop, it is a really unique shop and quite a draw to downtown. Jet and Joke Photos and Film, Photos by Eden, a new unique event space called Lofted in 228 East 2nd Street. It's a very cool space. KTI Productions was the last piece of a building that sat vacant for many years and now is completely occupied. 320 East Main. It's a little space behind that power, but that building was completely vacant, and we did the facades in the 300 block. It was the facade that actually came completely down. It was in such bad shape and had to be rebuilt. But now that building is completely occupied. It has 2 apartments upstairs. It has manpower downstairs, and KDTI Productions in the back. So really, really cool to see a building go from completely empty to completely Serenity Palms Massage is down in 226 West Main. Faded Barber Shop is a new barber downtown within the last year in another building that was in really bad shape. I'll talk a little bit more about that owner, but Faded Barber Shop and Lane Brand are sharing that space. Lane Brand is a clothing store in that same space, so really kind of neat to see two businesses sharing the same space and working together. Aaron Cross is a paper conservator, a really unique business. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in a few minutes. And then also has a unique shop in the front too. So check it out. Check cashing facility that moved from the south side over to the north side. And that leaves old office there on the corner of Green and 2nd Street. And then Apex Clean Energy, which is in the Go Pip office, that is probably the biggest employer of all of those. I think they have about 15 employees, and it's maybe kind of a temporary thing, but they'll be here for a couple of years. So super excited to have all those new businesses downtown, and super excited to say that I agree with Mark. In 2024 and 2025, there's going to be some really big investment downtown, and really excited about it. So. We have just had some fall and winter events. That's one of the things that we do with our promotions committees. We had Which Way to Main, which is a trunk or treat down on Main Street at the end of October. We've done that for four times. We didn't do it in 2020, but this was by far our biggest event that we've ever done. I think we had probably between 12 and 1,400 people down that evening, so it was a very successful event. Last Friday, we had our holiday open houses. We moved that one from a Thursday to a Friday. Weather was pretty nice last Friday night. They went around and picked up some the little game that we played today to do our drawings for that. And everybody I talked to said they had a really good turnout as far as people coming in and buying things. So that's always great to hear. This coming Friday in Central Park at 5:30. The city will be lighting its Christmas tree, but we will also be lighting 125 lights of love trees. It's a really great ceremony that really takes great use of the Central Park, and super excited about that. And then, of course, this coming Saturday is Shop Small. Get out and support not only the small businesses downtown, but the locally owned businesses all over town. That's their one big day. We hope that all season is, but that is kind of a national Shop Small, local. So make sure you get out and get out. I think I talked about this a little bit last time, and we're just wrapping it up. A Grow with Google partnership. Iowa was chosen as 10 states in the country to be a partner with the Google program to teach their digital skills to businesses. And Ottumwa was honored to be the community in the state of Iowa. So there were 10 communities across the country, and Ottumwa was picked as one of those. My part-time person, Lindsay Newland, who was our business specialist, I was able to hire her as a more full-time person for this year. As you can see there, she has reached over 1,000 businesses. I think she's up to over 1,200 businesses that she's reached, not just in Ottumwa, but across the state. So that's great. She's had 156 workshops, which is more workshops than any of the other coaches had across the country. So kudos to Lindsay and kudos to Ottumwa. What's this mean for Ottumwa? Obviously, it brought us some national attention. We were mentioned at the national conference. I know that there's going to be more that comes out of this from National Main Street Center. It's looking at our data, and hope to hear more about that in the future. So I think it's been a very successful program. I know that in meeting with a lot of the other Main Street directors in Iowa, they have also noticed an impact in their communities that have used Lindsay to come out and coach their communities as well. So. One of the other things when I talked about business development that we started, and again, Lindsay's helped tremendously with this. She runs this program, but we had a Business Builder Academy. This is our second year of doing that. It is an 8-class program. It teaches teaches business fundamentals to new business to get them started and growing. Utilize 10 local business owners and specialists to help entrepreneurs gain skills and increase their network. Really depending on those folks to be strong mentors for new businesses. And we have helped 15 businesses get started or accelerated their growth. The other thing that I'll say about that too is that we've seen great collaboration with both classes, made some new friendships. I think it's great to see people with similar ideas or starting a business and having kind of a cohort to go through those struggles together. The results of that, go back 1 second, real quick, we have in the Main Street District seen 4 buildings purchased. In those 4 buildings, we got 8 new businesses. We have 1 new apartment updated, a new office space updated. We have 2 food bar concepts that came out of this new one that we're excited about that will be occupying some space. And then again, build those lasting relationships. We have 2 new home-based service businesses that are up and going, 2 small-scale manufacturing businesses, 1 new fitness gym, not in the district, but in Ottumwa. We actually had a person from Eldon that participated this time that's going to be opening a new business there as well. And then we have a couple mobile food options, one of those being a bar, one of those a food truck. And then we have an in-home bakery right now, but hopefully in the next couple of years she'll be filling a storefront as well downtown. So super excited about the results there. Okay. Just some of the feedback from some of the students, talking about their experiences. And it really has pushed them forward from an idea to actually going out and doing that. So it's been a really fun project and hope to continue that in the future. Here you see, this is actually open for business. Aaron Naylor was one of our graduates from the first year that we did this last year's, who opened Aaron Cross that Mark had mentioned a second ago. One of the programs that Main Street Iowa has for Main Street communities is this Open for Business grant. We also have the Challenge Grant, which Ottumwa's taken advantage of several times. We have never had anybody make it to the point of getting any money for this Open for Business concept, or Open for Business competition. But Erin applied this year. In June, she was picked as one of the 5 finalists, which gave her a $5,000 grant. And then she went on to compete at the downtown summit in Sioux City this fall in August and won 3rd place, which gave her an additional $10,000 to improve her business. So that's all going into that paper conservators lab there on Court Street across from the hotel. So super excited about that, and it's a great business. And the thing about that I think is so great is, and I think the thing that the state saw about it too, is that she's drawing customers not only from Ottumwa, from our state, but she's drawing people in from out of state to conserve, documents, maps, photographs. So it's a super exciting thing to have downtown. I think it's going to grow and become a bigger business at some point. So, okay. Our Business Builder Academy did win a state award this last year at the Main Street Iowa Awards. It was the best business recruitment project seen by the state. So we were super excited about that. And then you see the committee and Lindsay accepting that award with Michael Weidler, who's the Main Street Iowa coordinator, and Debbie Durham, the head of IEDA. After that, Debbie did take a little tour of Ottumwa, and Michael and Debbie came down and we visited Aaron Cross. She had just opened. Bryce Lipton, his wife, are the property owners at 303 to 305 East Main, where Main Brand and the barber shop is. He is about to open here soon. A new venue, entertainment venue. So stay tuned for that, but that should be hopefully at the beginning of the year. And then Tucker Black opened CrossFit out on North Court there. So he was one of our graduates from that first year too. Another thing that our design committee has been working on this year with the improvements that Amtrak is doing to the canopies at the train station. The city's obviously also invested in the depot as well, the park in front of that, known as Wallingville Park. We've just been helping the Parks Department out with some projects there. We did get a Fernie Foundation grant. We did plant some shrubs. We kind of looked at some historical photos of the park and planted 65 boxwood shrubs that will grow here in the next couple of years. They don't ever get big, so don't worry, they're not going to hide the train or the fountain. It's going to be a little addition there to the park. We did plant over 500 tulip bulbs this fall too, so stay tuned for the spring for that. It should be quite beautiful. We did paint the light poles, which had kind of faded out a little bit, so spruce those up a little bit too. And then our volunteers sitting back here have been working hard in just maintaining that space and cleaning the sidewalks and trimming trees and things like that. So it's been a fun project. There are obviously some things that I think the city wants to look at there too, especially using that as a new home for themselves. And obviously you're all seeing that on a daily basis now. That fountain, I would say, along with the theaters downtown, have great sentimental value to a lot of people. A lot of memories of the fountain downtown. But it's going to need some work here in the next few years, and that's something that we're looking at, but want to partner with the city on as well as to how we maintain that and make sure that's part of our future. Now just a little bit about SMID. We'll probably talk more about this here in the next few months, but SMID is a self-supported municipal improvement district. SMID authorizes a city to impose an additional property tax on special districts for specific purposes within that district. So it is a property tax that is in place downtown right now. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but the dollars that are raised there have to be spent within that district. The district pretty much follows the same outline as the Main Street Ottumwa district is, which is basically Jefferson Street on the east to Marion on the west, 4th Street on the north, and the river on the south. Right now, this is kind of a map. We do have 3 different zones. Zone 1 pays $1 per $1,000 assessed value. Zone 2 pays $2 per 1,000 on assessed value, and Zone 3 pays $3. Zone 3 being the smallest area there, but it is really the area where a lot of focus has been focused on the Main Street corridor with the streetscape, and is probably using a lot of that money right now too. So that's kind of how those zones were brought up and put in place. To set up a SMID, it has to be voted on by 25% of the property owners and also 25% of the assessed value of those properties. And then it has to be voted on the way it's set up in Ottumwa. We set it up for, it had to be voted on every 5 years. So we're at that point of gathering signatures. We actually just went through that process, and that is moving through the city. So I'll be back to talk more about that as that moves through the city process. But we have gained the 25%. Actually, we're over 25% of the property owners, and we're well above the 25% of the assessed value. I'm visiting with people and the property owners downtown. Everybody that I talk to wants to see this kept in place and see the value in how that is being used. So, some of the things that we've used it on, Sue, who does the watering of the plants downtown, that has certainly increased. We actually have Sue, more of a full-time seasonal person and a part-time seasonal person now, Bobby Washington. But they use this vehicle, get around and to plant plants and maintain plants, and keep downtown clean, and lots of maintenance downtown. So this is the vehicle, and we use $3,000 from SMID and partnered that with some other dollars in town to get that purchased. We also built a new trash enclosure on 3rd Street. We saw a lot of the businesses there along Third and actually even North Market Street didn't have a really good place for their trash cans, so we built a new trash and pleasure there, and we want to continue that in a couple other areas where we can have some of the dumpsters put together and kind of keep things a little cleaner downtown. We have some ashtrays on the poles on Main Street, so people have a place to put those cigarette butts instead of just throwing them on the ground. And then we have seen an increase of people living upstairs with pets, someone with pets, but also just, you know, citizens downtown. It's become a much friendlier place to walk, so they're using that to walk their pets. So we did put up some pet waste stations as well that have, I was actually out today and I'm like, I gotta get those filled up because several of them are empty, which I was excited to see that they're being used. So. We also, with the improvements that we've seen along Main Street, you know, sometimes trees just die, so we have to replace those trees. Sometimes we get a bug or whatever, so this provides a little bit of money towards that. We have replaced, I think, 8 trees now in the Jefferson Street parking lot, 6, and then we've planted a couple on Main Street as well. Want to do more of that next spring. And then we have some money set aside to do some historical signage to really kind of talk about some of the history along Main Street too that people may not be aware of. So that's coming too this next spring. We've used that money as well for the Business Builder Academy. One of the ways that we get people to sign up for that is that there's a grant program that goes along with that. So we've used this last year. We Smith committee decided to use some of that money towards that. And we felt like that was a good way to get some new businesses downtown. And we've also got a small speakers fund to educate the businesses that we have here now too. So it's helping out that direction as well. And then it also has a reserve for some administration, which our staff has grown. We have Lindsay, who will be kind of transitioning. She went to full-time with Google. And then we brought Jason Bollinger on as a part-time person to help with our social media and website. But they'll be transitioning kind of back to their original roles. Jason has moved on and he's at Cookit now as well. And then of course Sue Smith and Bobby Washington are our part-time seasonal staff downtown that really keep downtown looking very beautiful. Local results. These are pretty awesome. This is since 2006. And remember, this is 16 blocks of downtown. 74 net new businesses. Mark was talking about kind of building this up for the whole community, but we've been doing it since 2006. So we do have great numbers to show. We have 74 new businesses downtown, and I report those if they come or go. So this is actually 74 new businesses since 2006 downtown that are still currently there. 285 new jobs, which is a little bit down from what it was a few months ago. This was kind of a hard quarter, but I'm anxious and excited about the next 2 months because I'm going to build that back up. I know I am. And then 274 property improvement projects. So when I register a dollar amount, I have to put a project with that. So several, it says 274, it's like, wow, we don't even have that many buildings downtown. Well, several of these are, you know, someone put a new roof on, and then maybe did a facade later. So that's why that number's to be. But the really impressive one is the next one, which is private investment downtown. Again, we're talking 16 blocks of downtown since 2006. Not grant dollars, not city dollars. Private investment is $31,596,138. That's a really impressive number. And then volunteer hours. You know, I started out as a one-man show with volunteers. Now we've got a few more staff members. Volunteers are still very active. Couldn't do it without the volunteers, but we're at 48,362 volunteer hours. So I think it's awesome that Mark's doing this too, and to be able to show those numbers, it really shows the return on investment when you guys do help out with the project. I think it shows, you know, how much is being, you guys might invest this much, but a private property and you get some money from the state as well. And it's really great to show those numbers to show that what you invest is being matched in The numbers that I don't have here are the property values, and that is really what your return on investment is to see those assessment numbers go up. I think that's it. So sorry it took so long to get through that, but if you have any questions, I'll take those. If not, we'll call it good for today.
Good report.
All right. I want to welcome Mr. Hoffman to the council too. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred.
One of the things that's not on the report on the agenda for tonight, but I see Jackie Polk is here, member of our Human Rights Commission. I don't see anyone else with you tonight. Okay, so the Human Rights Commission at their last meeting had talked about a statement and approved a statement at that meeting, and I don't know if you want to say a little bit more about that. I know you wanted to present it before the council, or the group did, and through tonight.
So I'm the chair of the Ottumwa Human Rights Commission. We've been regrouped a little over a year now. We're really proud to be together, and the members of my committee thought that maybe we should make a statement on the war. And I just need to be honest and said, no, let's please not. And they graciously prodded me and convinced me that we are human rights and there's a violation going on with human rights. So we did come up with the statement, and I do support it. So they told me now to go give it to the public. So here I am. It says that on October the 7th, Hamas fighters based in Gaza staged an assault on Israel civilians, killing over 1,200 and kidnapping 240 hostages. Israel is exercising its right to self-defense, has invaded Gaza and begun a military reprisal against Hamas. This military action has resulted in widespread destruction in Gaza and thousands of civilians' deaths and injuries. The loss of life and civilian suffering is staggering. We cannot change the reality of the Middle East. However, we wish to add our voices to those calling for a cessation of the fighting as soon as possible. The return to all hostages, greater efforts to avoid civilian casualties, and increased humanitarian aid for the wounded and displaced people of Gaza. We hope and pray for peace between Israel and Palestine people. We also offer our support to any one of our fellow Ottumwans who may be personally affected by this ongoing tragedy. Signed, the Ottumwa Human Rights Commission, and I'd like to meet members, myself, Jacqueline Polk, Galen Davis, John Ferner, Amy Norris Hernandez, Connie Johnson, Peter Ryder, Nathan Wilson, Sandra Swerf, and Marlena Wolfen on November the 13th. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so moving back up to the top, at the last meeting, I had mentioned that I was going to have this as a placeholder, status of financial reporting for city funds. And in the future, I believe we'll have this, we'll leave it here, but the finance director be the one to report on this. So for those that don't know, that in the public, yesterday I received a notice of resignation from Wasim Nassar, who was here at the last meeting as well. Fortunately for the city, we had a person that was working for us that has experience in this area. Jessica Kinzer was working at the city. She was helping a number of areas, filling in the accountant role, and has been named as the interim finance director to bridge this, to continue in this progress of reporting for the city funds, working with the finance staff that we have in place, and eventually working to find the permanent person, finance director for that position. So She in her past has served as the finance director of Clinton, Iowa, then city administrator there, and has recently worked at Marshalltown in the city administrator role. So I think she comes with some good experience and will assist greatly. So as far as where we're at, talking with her today, they are completing the annual financial report, the state AFR, as it's known. That is set to be sent to the newspaper for publication. It's due by December 1st, and we'll have a reporting of that, I believe at the December 5th meeting. The publication requirements and then getting that timely reported is the first thing that they're doing. Later tonight, I'll have on here the annual urban renewal report. It's another annual report that is sent to the state. And then on the December 5th meeting, we'll also have the street finance report, another annual report that is due to the state. All of those are being completed and will be done on time. During the process of completing the AFR, the annual finance report, there were a number of internal transactions, things that were identified and corrected as part of that process to get us to the point where we'll close out the year end and have the accurate reporting for that. So we are anticipating to have that ideally by the next meeting, and that will be the jumpstart then for the July reconciliation, August reconciliation, and moving forward into the current fiscal year. So that is the state of where we're at with the reporting of the annual funds and the documents and reports that council has seen in the past, and staff and the committees and council and the public. So we're working diligently to get all of that done, and I'm confident that with this change, we'll move there fairly rapidly. There was just one other thing that I had in my report. I think good news. The HR director Kojo wanted to mention about the incident last night.
Yeah, we had, we wanted to publicly recognize some of our police officers that a citizen had posted a comment on Facebook, and through kind of everything we found, we had a structure fire last night and our firefighters were out on scene. Police officers were actually able to respond to that scene a little bit prior, and we had 4 police officers, and Chief, please remind me, Sergeant Durande, Sergeant Yeager, Karina Cordova, or Craycraft, and Carson Story all responded and were actually able to get the citizen out of the home and possibly saved her life, put themselves in danger and was able to save that citizen. So special kudos to those 4 police officers, our fire department that was out there and battled that fire as well. So.
And that's all I had. I'll talk about the urban renewal report when we get to that part of the agenda.
Okay. Does council have any other questions for Phil at this time? If not, the next item on the agenda is where I ask if anyone in the audience would like to speak on any of tonight's agenda items that are on our agenda. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into our 2 public hearings.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing on the proposal to lease certain real property at the Ottumwa Regional Airport to Anderson Road Crop Farms LLC.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. I believe J.D. Wheaton is going to present on this.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. First of all, we're going to talk about bringing money in and not spending money tonight, so that's always a good thing. The current road crop lease at the Ottumwa Regional Airport for 510 acres, more or less, will terminate and expire on the first day of March 2024. The lease agreement is for 3 years with a 2-year possible extension if both parties agree on the lease. The road crop was put out to bid August 28, 2023. Bids were accepted until 2 p.m. on September 14, 2023. 4 bids were received, with the highest bid from Anderson Road Crop Farms at $411 per acre for the 510 acres. Staff recommends award to the highest bidder. The last time we had a lease like this, it went for 5 years. It was 3 years at a 2-year option. It was $285. To get $411 out of our land proves that the land's getting better with the improvements that's been made on it. Some by us, some by the farmer, for the money's been spent on this over the years. And we're very excited for $64,000 in revenue increase every year for at least the next 3 years. So,
Does council have any questions for JD?
No, I just have a comment. I would just say, like, I really appreciate your ability to think outside the box on how to bring funding in too. Like you said, we're talking about bringing money in, not spending money. So I really appreciate that. I think that we're all trying to do that, and you've just kind of set the bar on what that model should be.
that's what we try to do every day. So,
Well, I appreciate that.
thank you.
Anyone else on the council have questions? Since this is a public hearing, is there anyone in the audience that would have any questions that they'd like to ask Mr. Wheaton? If not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre? Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 176, 2023, approving and authorizing the lease of certain real property at the Ottumwa Regional Airport to Anderson Road Crop Farms LLC. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 176, 2023.
Move the recommendation is presented.
Second. Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman? This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing approving the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Elm Street and Fellows Avenue reconstruction project.
I'm gonna go ahead and open the public hearing, and Phil Kirkmeyer, our Public Works Director, will handle this.
Thank you, Mayor. So this project involves 2 streets being bid together. The first is a full-width, full-depth PCC reconstruction of Elm Street from Main Street to 2nd Street. This also includes new storm and sanitary sewer under most of the street. A second project is the full-width, full-depth PCC reconstruction of Fellows Avenue from Main Street to 2nd Street. This project includes storm and sanitary sewer repairs where needed. So both of these projects are right next to each other, and we thought there might be synergies to bid them together so one person could come in and perform both at the same time. But realizing that some contractors probably couldn't bond both of those, we also have an alternate bid item in case somebody wants to bid just one of the projects. And we'll award the projects either do 2 alternate bids if they're lower than the base bid, which is both of them together. We'll award them separately, but if the combined project is less, we're gonna award them as one. The estimated cost is $1.37 million. Budgeted amount was $1.303 million. Sources of funds we've lost. It's a budget item. There's no budget amendment needed.
Council have any questions for Philip? If not, is there anybody in the audience, since this is a public hearing, does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask Mr. Bergmeyer?
What is PCC?
Portland cement concrete.
It's concrete road, it's not concrete asphalt.
Okay, hearing no other questions, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution number 192, 2023, approving the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Elm Street and Fellows Avenue reconstruction project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 192, 2023.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
recommendation as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
We have no ordinances tonight, so we'll move on to departmental board or commission recommendations and reports, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Rath. Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
Receive and approve the annual urban renewal report for the Westgate Urban Renewal Area, Airport Urban Renewal Area, Wildwood Drive, Highway 34, Urban Renewal Area, and the Hospital District, Pennsylvania Avenue Corridor, Urban Renewal Area for the fiscal year of July 2022 through June 2023 for the city of Ottumwa, Iowa. Recommendation: approve the annual urban renewal report for fiscal year 2023.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation? So moved.
Second.
Now you can have it.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. So this report is what's known as a look back report. It's looking back at the prior fiscal year, fiscal year 23. So this would be from July 1 of 2022 through June 30 of 2023. And it's a rather lengthy report because it's covering all of those districts. The first page is a summary page here, and it shows the Westgate Urban Renewal has 10 different taxing districts. Some of those have revenue that generate for the TIF, tax increment finance. Some don't have anything that's generated. The Airport Urban Renewal Area has 4 taxing districts, and then there's 3 other ones that each have 1. The Hospital District, Penn, is not active at the moment. Vogel Urban Renewal is also not active during the time of this report. And Wildwood is the other one, which has the 1 taxing district. So the summary takes totals all of those, and it shows for all the districts combined for that fiscal year, 1.841 million and change on here. As I mentioned during my admin report, there were some adjustments that were made that came through with the annual finance report. This is one of those things that was affected by that, and it's actually off by about $35,000. The actual amount, I'm sorry, you see 1876 on yours. 1841611 is the TIF revenue that we received during that period, and that has been adjusted to report the accurate data that we'll have sent to the state if the council approves the report. And what that does, nothing had changed with the expenditures; those were all there. And the reason for this is the June that was captured in the first report was looking at the June of 23, which was actually received the next year. So I had to go back, take that one off, and put it in June of 22. So that's where the revenue is, because we received it in July, mid-July, when it came to us. So we got to report the actual there, and that's the difference. Then that changes the cash fund balance on the bottom instead of the 60.
So when you say the bottom, can you just make sure we're all on the same page?
I'm sorry,
First
the
page.
bottom of the first page.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
That the TIF Special Revenue Fund cash balance as of 6/30/2023, instead of the negative 68,801 that you see, it's in the shaded box on the first page. It is because of that $34,793 that we didn't get in that fiscal year. It'll be a negative 103,594.
Say that number again, please.
Negative 103,594. So you see, if you look at just above the TIF revenue number there, the TIF Special Revenue Fund cash balance as of 7/1/2022, it was negative 971,576. So that's where we were at the end of last fiscal year that was reported. So we gained about $870,000 in TIF revenue, and we're in a much better financial position at the end of last fiscal year than we were when we started.
When does this report due?
This report is due December 1st.
So, I guess my question is, I would like to see the report with the updated balances. And I know we're on a tight timeline, but I would like to see, while you're giving us the information, I would like to see, because this isn't the report we're actually turning in, correct?
Correct, yeah. So, like I said, the difference is that $34,793 of TIF revenue. That's the difference between the report that is here, which will be replaced with the actual report that'll be submitted. and the one that will be submitted to the state.
Can you email the corrective report out? to us?
Yes, I will do that, and it'll get added in, it'll be replaced, the correct one will be replaced with this, with what's online.
Does council have any questions for Phil? If not, Chris will take.
Wait, I'm sorry, just run me through those numbers one more time, I wanna make sure I have them written down again.
Sure, sure.
Just
Okay.
run them through me again.
Your TIF revenue line,
Yep, at the top.
yeah, should be $1,841,611.
Okay.
And that difference is that $34,793.
Okay.
And then that just changes the number in the shaded box there, the fund cash balance. So it'll increase the negative by that 34,000 and change to, the new number is negative 103,594.
Thank you.
And that again is compared to where we're at the beginning of the year with negative 971,576. That number did not change.
Any other questions before Chris takes the roll?
Would it be possible to table this item tonight and do a special meeting just to approve it with having the final copy in front of us?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, that is, yeah, if the council would desire.
I would make that motion.
I would second that motion. So Phil, like if you, it's already,
When would you guys want to?
we do it during the day, I mean, a quick, because it's not gonna take long, it will take, correct?
Probably 3 minutes if we see it, the
It's
final
done.
report.
So it has to be next week.
Yeah.
And if it's mailed, if you email it to us, that way we can see it before we meet.
Just that you know I'm not we're not in the office Thursday, Friday
Yeah,
this
yeah.
week, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can make the morning work, I can make during the day work, but we don't have to have a night session, and I mean, if we can get us together, I just wanna see the corrective report.
Yeah, and again, it's, the correction that's being made is to the actual revenue that was received. So it's just adjusting that part of it.
Do you guys want to vote on tabling this item? So I have Rowe moved, Galloway second? Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Okay. So next we'll move to resolutions.
Resolution number 186, 2023, waiving the right of review for Chalamides. Did I pronounce that correct? I don't know if that's right.
Shulamani is what
Okay,
it-
yeah, I really slaughtered that. Subdivision of Buffalo County, Iowa. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 186, 2023.
Good recommendations presented.
Second?
Okay, Mr. Simonson, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. The city and state code allow a city to establish its planning area 1 mile outside of its boundaries so that we can enforce a few different things that would help guide growth. And we would have the authority, if we wanted to exercise it, to require a subdivision be brought through the council for any subdivision that's in that 1 mile boundary. The proposed Shulamani subdivision is in the 1 mile boundary for the city, but reviewing the subdivision, the staff sees no consequence to the city or reason to put it through that process. It would be unnecessarily expensive, onerous, and time consuming for the property owner. So the staff recommendation is to allow them to continue with proceed with continuing to divide this parcel at 9490 125th Avenue into 2 separate parcels without a subdivision review by the city. This resolution would just waive our right to do that review.
Is this to build residential housing or something?
We don't know if they're gonna build with it right away or anything. But it is currently a residential 2-acre lot. It would be putting the house on one lot and then having another about 1-acre lot to the south.
Does council have any questions for Zach? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Poe?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 187, 2023, awarding the contract for asbestos abatement of 903 Silk Street to Dan Larson of Ottumwa, Iowa for the best bid, $2,300. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 187, 2023.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Jake?
Thank you, Mayor. Bids for this project were accepted until 2 p.m. on November 9, 2023. We received 2 bids. Dan Larson submitted the best bid in the amount of $2,300 for asbestos removal. Then the house will be used for training for the fire department. Staff recommends awarding him the contract.
Council have any questions for Jake?
Just one quick question. I thought that the fire department had already done their 2 controlled burns this year. Will this be scheduled into next year then?
Yeah, so the idea is to get the asbestos removed and then they'll do some in-house training and then they'll burn it at the beginning of next year.
Thank you.
January is only like a month away.
We're getting there.
Oh, believe me, I know.
Any other questions for Jake? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Poe?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 188, 2023, awarding the contract for disposal and demolition of 442 South Moore Street to Torres Construction of Ottumwa, Iowa for the best bid, $8,500. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 188, 2023.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Jake?
All right, same deal here. We accepted bids until 2 p.m. on November 9th, 2023. We got 3 bids for the demolition. Torres Construction submitted the best bid in the amount of $8,500 for the demolition. There was no asbestos in this property. The staff recommends awarding him the contract.
Does council have any questions for Jake regarding this issue?
So what will be put on this property? Is this the property that's gonna be for apartments or something?
So this will be a vacant infield lot. I mean, it could be developed eventually. It'll have the utilities there available. It's just a derelict house that will be torn down.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Poe?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 189, 2023, awarding the contract for asbestos abatement and demolition of 831 Lillian Street to Dan Larson of Ottumwa, Iowa for the best bid, $4,000 for abatement and $9,900 for demolition for a total of $13,900. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 189, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Jake?
All right, thank you. We got 2 bids for the asbestos and 3 demolition bids for this property. Dan Larson submitted the best bids in the amount of $4,000 for asbestos and $9,900 for demolition. The staff recommends awarding this to Dan Larson.
Council have any questions for Jake? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Poe?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.
Resolution number 190, 2023, making changes to the compensation handbook. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 190, 2023.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved. Second.
Okay, and Barb Kojo, our HR director, is going to handle this.
Thank you, sir. So these changes, except for number 1, are pretty much administrative changes, just changing titles. There's no actual change to the jobs themselves, but it's just changing from a traffic maintenance technician to an equipment operator. It's wording. The first one, we are asking to put a designation for our water pollution control facility. Due to some of the licensing and the certifications that are required down there, especially for some of our seasonal employees and our contracted employees. Some of those employees do have those certifications. So the dollar amount that we do have on the last page for $14 and $15 per hour for our seasonal contracted employees is just not enough. So what we would ask is if we've got seasonal or contracted employees that come in and work with us at Water Pollution Control and they currently hold those certifications, that we'd be able to pay them a little bit more. That would allow us to be fully staffed then down at the Water Pollution Control facility, also be able to maybe maintain some of those employees those people that have those certifications and be able to help us out down there. And then, like I said, the rest of it is just all administrative type stuff. There's no actual changes that have happened.
And that really would be more fair and equitable if they hold the certifications to be able to pay them a little bit more.
Absolutely, and we've been able to verify that they hold those, and I mean, there's a lot of schooling and a lot of training that goes into that, so absolutely.
Does council have any questions for Barb? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barb.
Resolution number 193, 2023, approving change order number 1 and accepting the work as final and complete for the 2023 street crack repair program. Recommendation passed and adopt resolution number 193, 2023.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
And Mr. Burkmeyer, you're back.
Thank you, Mayor. So this project is one of our annual preventative maintenance programs, and it uses hot tar to seal cracks in the streets, prevents water from getting underneath that and softening up the subgrade, prolongs the life of the streets. This project was performed by Parking Lot Specialties of Carlisle, Iowa. The original contract amount was $46,800. There was a $1,657.50 change order for the final contract sum of $48,457.50. We budget $50,000 every year for this. So what we do is we try to guess how many lineal feet it'll get us. We bid it by the lineal foot, and then we'll just keep going with the contract until we hit the limit of the budget amount. Including the previous payments of $44,460, the final payment will be due of $3,997.50.
So the change order was really because they were able to do a little bit more work than what
Yeah,
was
so they're
anticipated?
correct. So their per lineal foot bid was less than what we thought it would be, so we let them do a little bit more lineal feet in order to use up all the year's budget.
Council have any questions for Philip? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Pope?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 194, 2023, approving the purchase of equipment from Burt Gurney and Associates for the Water Pollution Control Facility Aeration System Improvements Project and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 194, 2023.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Burkmeyer.
Thank you, Mayor. So some background again, this aeration project will modify the existing blowers to better align with the aeration demands of the plant. It'll also install automation equipment, so the aeration main will be constantly adjusted to the actual oxygen demand of what's coming into the wastewater plant. It'll prevent under aeration during demand increases and prevent over aeration as demand decreases throughout the day. A little background too, so we did one procurement project, it was a couple months ago, for the items that Howden, which manufacturer blowers can provide. So we did that procurement project a couple months ago. This is for separate items that we could solicit bids for more contractors for. So we had 4 companies that we solicited bids from. These were for some valves, some dissolved oxygen analyzers, and some airflow sensors. Burt Gurney and Associates was the low bidder for the valves and the oxygen sensors. There were no responsive bidders for the airflow sensors. So the attached contract is for Gurney to provide 4 electric actuated valves, 1 manual actuated valves, and 2 dissolved oxygen analyzers. These items will be procured by the city because the estimated lead times are 44 to 50 weeks. And we thought it would make sense for us to procure these now and then let the installation contract at a later date when the contractor has some certainty on when they'll be able to perform the work, or he or she. The lead time for the flow sensors, the one unresponsive bidder told us it was only 35 days. So we think it'd be better to include those airflow sensors with the construction contracts, because 35 days is pretty reasonable for getting equipment. Anyway, the contract for these items is $56,235.25. We budgeted $65,000 for the line items included in this bid. We budgeted $632,000 for the entire project. So along with the engineering contract we led, the initial procurement contract with Howden, and this, there is $267,742 remaining in the budget for construction of the improvements. So far, everything we've bought has come in slightly under budget, just like this did, so we're going pretty good for now.
Council have any questions for Philip?
So we're not concerned about not, for those flow sensors in the future, right? We are
Yeah,
confident
the
with
flow sensors are more off-the-shelf type items.
Okay.
I'm actually really surprised the actuated valves are gonna take this long to get it. I didn't think it'd be a year out.
Anybody else on the council have any questions for Philip? John, did you have anything you want to add or say?
Nope.
Okay. If there's no more questions, we'll have Chris take roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Poe?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 195, 2023, approving the Elm Street Lift Station Pump Number 1 repairs for water pollution control facility in the amount of $33,131. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 195, 2023.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Okay, Philip.
Thank you, Mayor. So this resolution is to repair a pump in the Elm Street lift station. This pump has an upper seal failure, and gonna have the impeller replaced and also some seals. The cost to repair is $33,131. The cost to replace the pump is an estimated $135,000. So it was more financially prudent to repair the pump while we can. Elm Street Pump Station handles about 90% of the flow, the sewer flow that comes to the plant. There's a lot of sand that comes through there because we're still a combined system, so it's pretty routine that these pumps have parts like this that wear out. And we have to replace, especially the impeller and seals.
Council have any questions for Philip?
So how often do you think that they wear out? Is it a,
We go through a pump once a year, pretty easy. And I will also say that the current pumps that are in there are at their end of manufacturing life, so they are creating new ones. So at some point, you will have a bill for $335,000, I think maybe $155,000 of it, to replace those 3 pumps at some point. The thought is we'll replace one a year if we can do that. We do have an impeller on the shelf just as a spare part, but we can still get that part right now. But it's becoming obsolete.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Poe?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Resolution number 196, 2023, approving the Barton Lift Station pump replacement for water pollution control facility in the amount of $26,256. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 196, 2023.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Philip.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is to replace a pump in the Barton lift station. Barton's branch takes the other 10% of the flow that comes to the sewer plant and pumps it up the headworks. This pump's no longer functioning, it's obsolete. It was originally installed in 1997 when the pump station was built and the headworks building itself was built. Parts to repair it can't be sourced, and so the cost of the replacement of the pump is $26,256. We feel the city's got the useful life out of that pump.
Council have any questions for Phil? Not, Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Poe?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway? Yes. Councilmember Hoffman?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask if there's anybody in the audience that would like to speak on any items that are not on our agenda tonight. Okay. Next, we'll go ahead and move on to Mayor, City Council reports and any communications. Does anyone on the council have any public communications they'd like to give?
I have nothing tonight. Nothing. I know, it's crazy.
Anybody have anything? I guess I just have one thing, and I want to kind of repeat what Barb had said. I know there's been a lot of discussion lately about what's been happening in our fire department and stuff, but we really do have a fantastic fire department, and you don't want to paint everybody with the same brushstroke. And I think that fire last night was an excellent example of how our fire department and our police department work together. And I just think that the more we can do that, and I know they do it every chance they get, but I just want the public to know that, you know, I really feel like we have an excellent fire department and an excellent police department. And all the citizens should really be very proud of that, because they work extremely hard and they put their life on the line every day when they do their jobs.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Anybody have anything else? On behalf of the city council, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and hope everybody has a nice holiday with their families this week. And if there's no other communications to be made, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Chris will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre?
Yes.
Councilmember Poe?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway? Yes. Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to our city council meeting and safe travels home.